We have to teach our babies to love themselves. In the book of Matthew, chapter 22, uh, they asked Jesus, "What is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus says, "To love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength, and to love your neighbor as or equal to the way you love yourself." And I believe it's the love yourself message that we have neglected to teach our babies. When a baby comes home, the parents, they shower that baby with love. Mama loves you, daddy loves you, grandma loves you, auntie loves you. And we keep telling that child who loves them, but we don't teach that child to love themselves. And I believe that that is one of the missing ingredients in all of our lives, is that the world will teach us to hate ourselves long before it will ever teach us to love ourselves. They will teach us not to love ourselves because of the color of our skin, not to love ourselves because of our sex, not to love each other because of the money that you have or the money that you don't have. And all of the labels that we put on people. And then, unfortunately, we don't learn it in church. We don't learn how to love ourselves in church because once we get to church, they tell us things like, "You're unworthy, you're unholy, you're undeserving, you're unfit, you're unlovable." And did God give you grace and mercy? And then He loves your undeserving self and He loves your unlovable self, that everything about us is wrong. Again, God loves us. We'll tell you that. We'll tell you mama loves you, daddy loves you, but we won't tell you to love yourself, because that is the glue that will cause you to look in the mirror and you see what God sees, that God is love, and you will see someone that not only is worth God loving, but is worth you loving. You are worth loving. And that is a message that we got to get out, or we will continue to see these expressions of self hate that we see in relationships, whether husband, wives. Most of the arguments come from a place of self hate. Most of the criticism comes from a place of self hate. All of the analyzing and evaluating and the put downs and all of these things come from a place of self hate, insecurity, all of these negative feelings and thoughts that I have about myself. So if there's one thing I would do, I would start it at home. Start at home, not just to tell your child that you love them, but to teach that child that they should love themselves. And in the church, not just tell them, "For God so loves you that He sent His only begotten Son," but that God sent His only begotten Son so that you could love you. And we need to eliminate every sign of anyone not loving themselves, because I see it as a cancer. It's a cancer that's running rampant throughout the human race. And all of this conflict, and not just in the church, outside the church, in the home, in the world, all of this is manifestations of people that don't love themselves. So I'm saying, let's start with our babies. Let's teach our babies to love themselves.